Hello friends, welcome back to more Entitled People stories. We got some more Reddit posts to check out today, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get into it, guys. Karen demands to go through bear territory, almost gets mauled by a grizzly. So for a little context, this story is not mine. This happened to my father in the 80s and the 90s, but I will write in the first person because English is hard. In the 80s, I lost everything I could. I dropped out of college, my father died of a heart attack, and my mother was somewhere in the wind. I wasn't worth the air I was breathing. As a last effort, I saved up some money to move to a different state so that I could start fresh. I chose Montana to be my new home. Because I didn't have a college degree, I knew I could only make a living with my hands and not my head. After a bit of looking around, I found work on a ranch. The owner of the ranch, let's call him Jack, took me under his wing. He taught me how to ride a horse, how to herd, how to do cutting, roping, and many other useful skills on a ranch. My goal was to have enough money for a deposit so I could buy a house, or at least some land. After about 3 years, I had the money, but I loved the ranch and the folks so much that I chose to stay longer. In the spring of '88, I finally made the decision to quit. I was fully honest with Jack about what my intentions were. I told him that I wanted to buy some land to have a ranch of my own, and potentially get married and start a family. Being the absolute champ, Jack offered me some contacts of people who were selling land. After some time, I chose a piece of land near Jack's ranch. I got a loan, bought the land, and in the summer I started building my house. By winter, the house was done, and it was planned that in the spring I'll build a barn and some fences, corrals, among others. In the spring, it was back to work, and before summer started, I had nothing to do. I had a lot of time on my hands while I was waiting for the paperwork to be done, and I wasn't going to spend 2 weeks sitting on my porch doing nothing when Jack promised me that if I would ever need it, he would give me a job. Now, I didn't need a job because of money, but I just didn't have anything to do. So I went to my good old friend Jack if he needed some help. He said that he could use me to guide people on the tours he was offering. His ranch is not only in the cattle business, he also offers tours of the pristine nature on his property. I happily accepted the job despite me not liking people, but still, it was better than just sitting on my front porch and doing nothing. The first few days went without a problem, but then a wild Karen appeared to brighten up the day. I was just returning from a tour when I saw this Karen in the middle of the field, yelling at this girl who was also a guide. I didn't know the girl, but in my books, whoever makes a girl cry is an a-hole. I came over to them and in the most passive-aggressive voice I can, I say, "Good day. What seems to be the problem?" And the Karen's wrath was now aimed at me, and she yelled back, "This bitch has no respect for the desires of the customer. Give me a manager now." Now I didn't expect such strong wording, but I kept my cool despite my hot-headedness, and I came up to the girl who's now sobbing because this Karen was mouthing off to her pretty good. And I say to her, "Leave her to me, I'll take care of her. You go take a break and tell Jack that I'll be with this piece of work." She gives me a grateful smile and a nod and rides away. I go to the Karen and I say to her, "Ma'am, I can't get you the manager as he's busy right now, but if you want, I can be your guide in her stead for the remainder of the tour." She replies very politely by saying, "Sure, I think even the trees will be better than that bitch." Every part of my hot-headed self wants me to pretty much bury this woman right then and there, but I keep my cool and we head off on the tour. And within the first minute, what a piece of work she truly is. She behaves like she knows best, and everyone is lesser than her and everything should be given to her. When we are about to turn around and go back, I give her a choice. We could either go the official route, or we could return by the unofficial route, which is shorter, but there were bear sightings reported in the past few days. I tell her that the unofficial route is quite dangerous. But just as I wanted her to do so, she vehemently objects, because she is the wisest person alive and knows the best. Great, my trap had worked. After about 5 minutes on this unofficial route, she starts screaming and turns so pale that she is even more white than paper. In the distance, there is a grizzly. I knew about the danger I dragged both of us into, but in the end, it was technically her choice to go that route. I tell her to make herself as big and loud as she can. I follow suit, but the bear keeps getting closer. It keeps growling at us. With every growl, Karen was getting ever more pale. After it gets way too dangerous, I shoot a round out of my rifle, and the bear gets scared and runs away into the woods. The entire ride back, she keeps yelling at me that I put her intentionally in so much danger. And yes, I'll admit, it was quite reckless taking a visitor into the part of the woods where there were bear sightings reported, but technically, she made the decision to go that route. I stay silent the entire ride because I can't keep a straight face. I was laughing maniacally in my head, and I knew that if I looked at her, I would start laughing out loud. When we returned, she was shaking violently and was pale as ever. After I tied up her horse, she demanded that I get her the manager, and I gladly pointed her to the little building in the distance, and she storms off. She starts yelling at Jack, and I can see that Jack is trying his hardest not to break out laughing. I could hear that she was demanding that I be fired, but the neat part was, I wasn't an employee of Jack's. I was doing it as a favor for a friend, and thus I couldn't be fired. After the Karen's tirade ends, Jack comes to me laughing like a kid, and he asks me, "How did you even come up with that, OP?" I start giggling as well as answer, "Well, she made the girl cry, so I wanted to give her special treatment. I heard of the bear sightings and it worked out well in my favor." He then asks me not to do that again as it was reckless, and I agree and I tell Jack, I don't plan on doing it again, but I had a plan if the bear mauled the damn wretch. My defense would be that I gave her the choice to go on a safer path, but because she was apparently of higher intellect than me, I simply agreed. Jack gives me a smile and heads off. Years later, my father would end up meeting that girl guide again. Her name was Abby, but nowadays I simply call her Mom. Their culture doesn't respect women. Ma'am, we're talking about a swing. So a bit of context. This happened about 4 years ago, and me and my friends wanted to go to a park just to hang out and have fun. All of the kids and parents in my neighborhood would go to the park, as it's extremely close by and big. There was the certain double swing at the park where 2 people could just sit down and it would act as a regular swing, except it would go very, very high. This was a very popular area at the park, so there was a long line of kids wanting to go on them, but me and my friend just patiently waited. So after waiting for about 10 to 20 minutes, me and my friend just got on and we started swinging. All was well for about a minute, when all of a sudden I see a lady in my neighborhood march up to me with her kid. This will be entitled Mom. At the time I didn't know the lady too well, as she had recently moved in around 5 months prior, but I heard from some of my other friends at the time that she was pretty rude. So this is how the confrontation went down. Keep in mind this was a while ago, so some dialogue might be a little different to what actually happened, but it was overall a memorable event, so I remember most of what happened. "Excuse me, me and my son have been waiting here for 2 hours now. Can we get on, please? Thanks." No, sorry, we just got on. Also, we saw you cut all these kids, so I'm not sure why you're lying." "Well, that's true, but me and my son really want to get on. Thanks." "Yeah, no, you'll have to wait your turn, as we literally got on like a minute ago." "Yeah, but still, you kids always come here, and this is like our first or second time being at this park. If the kid you cut in front of is fine with you going after him, then sure, you can after we're done." "I can't wait that long though. Please, just let me have like 20 minutes on the swing. This is his first time, so please, let us get on." "I just said I'll let you go after me. Relax, we won't take that long. Just let us get on now or else." I start to get a little annoyed at this point, and I say, "Okay, well you can keep waiting because like I said, we just got on." At this point, she's done with the nice act and is full on yelling at me, but then her friend, entitled Mom 2, entered the conversation. Keep in mind her friend is at the other swings, just pushing her kids back and forth, and has no business in this conversation, but I guess she heard what was going on. Entitled Mom 2 says, "It's fine, Entitled Mom 1. They just don't respect women in their culture, so don't mind them being rude." "Oh, what are you talking about? We're just on a swing, so what does this have to do with culture?" I ask. "She means that the religion your parents or whoever taught you clearly doesn't support respecting women," said Entitled Mom 1. I'm assuming she must have seen my mother wearing a hijab, which is a scarf that Muslim women wear, at some point around the neighborhood and just doesn't like our religion. And I say, "What the hell are you even saying?" At this point, my friend is just telling me that we should just let them onto the swing to not get into trouble. So we just sadly hand over the double swing and they just smirk at us leaving. "Thank you, and maybe from now on, treat women with respect," said Entitled Mom 1. "Well, I treat everyone with respect, until they start becoming a massive asshole," I said. This lady took that to heart. Now that I think about it, I should have just walked away or said, "Okay, whatever." "Excuse me, how dare you say that to me? I just wanted to teach you to respect women," she said. "Boys like you are the problem with today's society," said the other mom. "I don't care," I respond. "Also, how dare you curse in front of these children like that?" "Okay, whatever, I'm sorry. Can you please leave us alone now? We already gave you what you wanted," I said. "You caused the problem and started to harass us, so you leave us alone," said entitled mom 2. "Okay, bye," I said. "No, I will not let you off the hook. Apologize for harassing me and my son." They started to yell and scream, and by now the entire park is hearing what's happening. Now somehow, a different lady starts walking towards us, who, by the way, has nothing to do with the situation yet. Probably assumed we were bad kids or something. Not sure. She will be Random Karen, as I'm not sure if she knew the entitled moms or not. "Hello, excuse me kids. I just read the rules of this park, and it says that only 5 to 12-year-olds are allowed on the playgrounds. So if you two boys do not leave, I will be calling the cops." "What? This is a public park. We sat down on a swing and you'll call the cops? Also, where are these rules that you mentioned? Please show them to me. And we already did what the lady asked us to do as well. What is the problem?" "Okay, fine, I'm calling the cops," said Random Karen. "Ha ha ha, serves you right for harassing me and my son," said entitled mom 1. "Yeah, sure, I was harassing you. I'll just wait for the police. It's not like they'll do anything since I didn't break any rules. Also, who even are you to call the police on me? Did you not see the two random ladies yelling at me over a swing? Trust me, I can see who's in the right or wrong, and I clearly see that you've been disrespecting these adults," said the Random Karen. By now, I get that arguing is getting me nowhere, so I'm just waiting for the cops to arrive and tell me I'm not breaking any rules. So about 20 minutes pass and the cops arrive and start to question the two entitled moms and the Random Karen. He then comes to question me, but entitled mom 1 keeps shouting in the distance. "Hey kids, so these ladies over here say that he harassed me and my child, why do you need to question him?" "Ma'am, can you please quiet down? I'm only trying to understand the situation some more." The entitled mom 1 angrily stays quiet, but she is still glaring at me. I proceed to tell the cop everything that happened. "Ah, okay, so it's nothing like what they told me. They were saying you hit that lady's kid, and that you broke into the playground, which to me sounded silly. All of that was lies. They were just really mad at me for some reason." "Yeah, I understand. Some people are just like that. Best thing to do is just walk away next time. And don't worry, they won't bother you anymore." The cop then asks some of the other nearby people just to confirm what was going on, and they thankfully said similar things to what I had told them. So he went back to the ladies and simply told them not to disturb us again, or else he would arrest them for harassing us kids. They had an incredible look of anger and embarrassment that the cop didn't believe their lies. We finally had gotten some peace at the park. Now that I'm writing this, I find it incredibly strange that 3 middle-aged women were yelling at a 12-year-old. I still see entitled mom 1 around the neighborhood to this day, and I've had some simple conversations with her over the years, but she still holds a grudge. Alright, well that's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed, and also subscribe for more. So have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.